Hello and welcome to another episode of the Mastermind, Body, and Spirit Show. I'm your host, Matt Belair. Today's guest has been on a wellness tour this past year through the US, Bali, Australia, and is currently in Hawaii educating and empowering people at all stages of health with activated oxygen therapy. From cancer, chronic fatigue, digestive problems, dental and skin issues to Lyme's disease. The amazing therapy has proven to truly work for many people she has shared it with. Along this tour, she has produced and facilitated large wellness events, healing clinics, and ozone workshops. She was featured on the New Earth panel in Bali alongside inspirational visionaries such as Michael Tellinger. As a result, she was able to reach a large audience as well as affect hundreds of people. The amount of positive responses that continue to unfold is fueling this world tour to get this simple and yet potent message out to all communities. Activated oxygen is proven to have long-lasting, effective results. Welcome to the show, Hopi Ryder.
Hi.
Hey, nice to see you.
Yeah.
Okay, so, we connected recently on Facebook, and I was kind of looking I'm always looking for people doing cool things. I was a little bit familiar with this, but I started to look at your website, your stuff, and you are the expert in this field, and I'm really excited about exploring it. I had a little dabble when I was in Contact in the Desert, Hot Springs. I went somewhere after, and I was in some of the technology. They explained it to me a little bit, but I don't exactly know what happened. So do you want to just start with a little bit about your background and then how you got into this, and then just going to explore a little bit of the work, because it's interesting.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I mean, I just wanted to also mention one thing. I'm not in Hawaii anymore. I'm based in Encinitas, San Diego. Got back from that world tour and stationed here in Southern California. But yeah, I mean, my personal journey is very similar to many people that are just in the self-exploration of how to reach wellness and health in their life. So along my journey, I have a very, very inquisitive mind, and I always want to find the truth amongst all of the information. So along that path, I came in contact with ozone, and it completely changed my life. And ever since it changed my life, it's become my mission, my passion, my purpose to share this with others so that they can feel as good as I do, basically. And so it's been many years along this journey of sharing ozone. Really interesting how I even came across it. And now I feel like I'm kind of like a missionary, I'm a messenger for the ozone element. It's an alive, conscious element, and it's a basically electrified oxygen. So I can kind of go into the story of what ozone is. And
Sure, yeah.
So basically, when people come into my field, I kind of give them a little storytelling, so me personally, I came across ozone when I was at a stage in my life where I was just feeling so fatigued, and I had every superhero, alchemy, Jedi, biohacking lifestyle you can imagine. I literally had everything. I had all the supplements, did all the detoxes. I had all the trinkets and tools, and yet I was waking up at 35 years old every morning after my morning walk, my apple cider vinegar tonic, you name it, and I was like literally ready to just crash on the floor. And it was so frustrating because here I have been on this journey, and I found all this amazing information to be well, and yet I have no energy. So it was just around that time in my life that I was exposed to ozone. I happened to be around 3 amazing individuals, experts that have been offering it for more than 20 years in their own right. Each person was a different age, same age, different area of California. They didn't know each other, and they each had very, very strong opinions on what ozone is and how it works. So I received ozone. It changed my life, and I just kind of became a fly on the wall within these different experts' lives. I trained with them, I listened to them, and what really inspired me beyond just healing myself with it was that I would listen to the people coming in before and after me, because they would usually, just share information. That's the nature of healing, when you're in the wellness world. it's just a lot of sharing information. And I was shocked to see, yes, my fatigue went away, but now I'm hearing, the woman before me's tumor went away, and this guy's Parkinson's shakes went away. And it was just like, it really hit me hard that this was something substantial for people. And I felt like, as much as I honor and respect my elders and who I was training under, they were kind of in the older realm. They're not about to, go on tours and share the mission of Ozone. They just kind of had their circles. So I just kind of got this click in my life, like, this is my dharma, this is my purpose, is to take this information that I'm being exposed to and get it out to the world. So I kind of consider myself not an expert, but a guide, a guide for people that want to know more about this. So that's kind of my story, getting into Ozone.
Right. Yeah. Interesting. So, okay. So you use it first, actually that's something for me as well. Just personally, that I've been feeling a little bit tired, and I always wonder what that is. So I've had really great results with CBD, really great results with taking some C60. And I'm always looking for ways to kind of explore, like sometimes it could be simple things like diet, like you're allergic to wheat and things like that. And, so this seems like one of those hacks, maybe not hacks, but just, I think we're getting new technologies that can create very significant results. So do you want to, so what did you hear in the field? Like, what were the experts saying? Like, what are some of the, like, how does it work? What actually happens?
Yeah, I'll totally go into it. So the thing with ozone is it's actually not a new technology. It's an ancient element. It's oxygen. So the real conversation we're having is, what is oxygen? What does oxygen do to the body? So yes, biohacks are great and all of these tools are great, but really I kind of want to be on a mission of simplifying. Like, instead of buying cajillion supplements and going on every diet, and yes, you might even have a virus in your blood, and yes, you might be allergic to stuff. That's all very important, but really oxygen is number one. Number one, before anything, before food and water, oxygen is life. Without it, we're dead within minutes. We can kind of go a lot longer. So that kind of gives you the conversations about oxygen. So I'll kind of go into the story. Okay, so what is ozone? What is activated oxygen? And then I'll kind of go in layers of, what is it, how it's created, and how it works in the body. And then you'll understand why I'm so passionate about it. So basically, if you can imagine, so oxygen is literally the key to life. So we're breathing it right now, and that's what's giving, our cells what it needs to create life. So, we're like, if you can almost see us as a matrix, we're like literally just thousands of tiny little cells. Our eyes are made of eye cells. Our liver is made of liver cells. Our skin is made of skin cells. You get the point. So it's just these tiny little cells that are creating us. And so when we really look at, the foundation of life, we're a bunch of cells that thrive off of oxygen. So everything that we do to be healthy, all the diets, even eating raspberries or exercising, it's a means to an end, and that end is to get oxygen into the cells. So instead of going to all the crazy depths of science and all of what that is, the cells receiving oxygen, we know it's good, and that's the mission, is to get more oxygen in the body. So if you can imagine, like, if we look at the importance of oxygen, how do we receive oxygen into our lives? And unfortunately, we live in a very toxic world, and we live in a world where we were raised with bad habits and bad decisions. So a lot of us now are trying to kind of re-step and get the quality of life back and eat better and do more oxygen and through breath work or whatever. So that's why a lot of these biohacking tools are literally just the ones that I feel are really, really in high integrity and really work, are the ones that stimulate our own body's mechanism to create and thrive, which is the core of all those little cells. Like, the energy of the cells is to create, heal, thrive. Like, that's the essence of us. The source energy is literally one that wants to keep us alive and happy. So how do we fuel that is by these healthy lifestyles. But because we live in a toxic world, we need these extra tools, these biohacking tools. And I really believe that, of course, drinking high quality water, red light therapy, and then the number one for me, the oxygen therapy. And ozone is the strongest oxygen therapy that I've found. just gives our body that innate fuel to do what it does best. So that's what I really love about the modalities that are just not taking over, but just kind of nudging our own intelligence in our body to heal. So the story of ozone, what is ozone? Now we kind of understand oxygen. Oxygen is amazing. Oxygen is life. We need more of it these days. So how do we get more of it? Some oxygen therapies are really amazing. So you must have heard of the, what do you call it? The hyperbaric chamber, or hydrogen peroxide therapy, or there's a lot of different oxygen therapies. Ozone it's showing clinically across the board, it's the most powerful oxygen therapy. And so to just give you a storyline, so what is ozone? Where does it come from? So it's basically a gas in nature that is created whenever an O2 molecule comes in contact with any electrical charge or UV light. So if you can imagine, the first time it's created is when the sun hits the earth. So the sun rays, the UV light of the sun, comes in contact with the atmosphere where there's a lot of oxygen molecules. And that collision, so if you can imagine, there's like two oxygen molecules flying around, and then an electrical charge comes, it breaks the two apart, and then they cling on to another O2 molecule. So we're creating O3 molecules, which is a gas. And so that first time that collision comes is the ozone layer being created. So it's a gaseous layer that's really cleansing and purifying for our atmosphere. And the other times it happens is in the waves crashing in the ocean, or the lightning and thunder in the sky. So anytime there's any oxygen coming in contact with any UV light or electrical charge, this kind of off-gassing, this electrified version of oxygen is created in nature. So that's kind of how it's created in nature. So it's a completely natural element of electrified oxygen. So the next part of the story is, so now you understand, this is a beautiful electrified oxygen element that lives in nature. And in the 1800s, around the 1800s, I don't know if you've ever heard of kind of when there's like an aha moment in humanity, or inventions, or kind of huge learning expansions. It usually comes in like a collective download. So around one time, a few people, even if they don't know each other, get that download. So around the 1800s, there was a few different amazing, brilliant minds of humanity, one of them being Tesla, the man of electricity.
Oh yeah, the most epic name drop ever. Like, forget it.
Yeah.
It's like, yes, I was actually noticing the hashtag Tesla Tech, and I was like, okay, that's good. You have my interest. Continue.
This is Tesla Tech for sure. I mean, he obviously understood more than anyone what electricity was. So he and other brilliant minds around the world. There was Dr. Otto Warburg. So there was people of all different trains of thought, whether it was a scientist, a doctor, or a Tesla. Around that era, they all kind of, they were like, all right, well, what is this pattern in nature? There's this electrified oxygen. What if oxygen gives life? What does this electrified version of oxygen do? So Tesla was the first to create an ozone machine. And essentially what we're doing now, so now we're taking that gas that's created in nature and we're able to replicate it identically. It's not even, it's nature. We're reproducing nature. And all we're doing is taking pure oxygen, putting it through a UV light chamber, electrifying it, and it comes out as an electrified version of itself. And so for centuries, this gas has been documented, proven. It's just a miracle for so many people. In Germany and Cuba and Russia and a lot of European countries, they've been using it for centuries, and it's just unreal, the studies that have come through. So, once we started working with it, with the body, it just started to really expand a lot of growth in countries that really needed it. Like Cuba was faced with some crazy virus, and like at one point Cuba was like going to be, people would just go to the doctor in the hospitals and then the doctors would die. It was a critical moment in Cuba where it was like, uh-oh.
When was this?
I forgot the exact name of the virus, but there was a certain time in Cuba's history that there was a virus that just kind of took over, and it was pretty gnarly. And then they brought ozone in, and it totally stopped it in its tracks. So now Cuba uses, it's like a general word. Nobody goes to the doctor or hospital without knowing about ozone in Germany or Russia or Cuba especially. So it's been used for a long, long time. And the way that it works in the body, and that's the most, so now we understand where it's made in nature, how we can replicate it. And okay, so how does it work in the body? So basically what happens in the body, so we get back to that story of all those cells that we are. And when we give our cells this type of oxygen, this electrified version of oxygen, the second the gas comes into the body, and there's different ways to receive it, it literally works as a catalyst to purify and cleanse and nourish at a cellular level. So we're mega dosing on oxygen beyond anything you can imagine. It's like 1,000 little breathwork sessions to our cells all at once. It's unbelievably powerful when it's used in the right way. Now, there's many different ozone machines. There's many different ways to get the gas in the body. There's direct ways to get it into the blood. There's ways people do it rectally, vaginally, through the ears. There's a lot of information on how to use it. And that's where I feel like I'm a true messenger and a guide to say, okay, here we have ozone. How can we bring it into the body that's super safe, super effective? And when it comes into the body within those parameters, I believe, anything it touches, it just restores and stimulates our body's innate technology to heal. It's miraculous. And what's happening at a cellular level is we're getting our cells mega doses of oxygen so that the cells can do what they need to do to this is like kind of the layman's quick little terminology. We can go down how it stimulates the, proteins, and it creates a lot of different of the alchemy in the body. But short and sweet is we're mega oxygenating the body, and the body responds to it so very, very well.
Well, the thing that I'm kind of hearing, and I was going to chime in, was about the kind of like kickstarting the body's intelligence. That's what I really like, is like the body heals itself. And, when we're in disease, we're basically vibrational cellular beings, so there's massive healing when you go to the forest all the time, when you go in nature, when you live near an ocean. It's just like, there's so many stories I've heard of people, they get diagnosed with cancer, then they're like, oh, I only have a few years to live, so I'm going to go live in a peaceful environment near nature. And like, wow, I'm still alive 10, 12 years later. Like, that's interesting how that works. So it's kind of using nature's technology to kickstart what your body already knows, because your cells and your body is connected with divine intelligence, with source intelligence, with nature. It knows how to take care of itself. But we can do things in the mind and really toxify our body. So that's what I really find interesting. So you explained on it a little bit, and go deeper wherever you want. I guess the general questions would be like, how does it work exactly? So you're pumping in oxygen into the body. I did it in the ears, and I felt really weird about it because I didn't know what it was, and they're like, we're going to put air in your ears. I was like, this doesn't make any sense. Like it was like this needle too. It's like, freaked me out. And I was like, yeah. So I was like, whatever, man. Like, yeah, it's like, I'll like, I just try stuff. And then I'm like on an amethyst bath with like light rays, and I like to try it all. But it was interesting. So, and then, so those are my questions. Like, how does it work? You explained it a bit. So you come in my general fact. Why does it work? And you explain that a little bit. So like kind of my elevator pitch when I'm coming into experiences it, and what illnesses, diseases, things are common where you're getting good results. So if somebody's like, I have that, like, is it a one session and then boom, you come out with your fairy wings and you're just cruising around life? Or do you need like 20, or does it depend on your lifestyle? Like if you go eat 10 cheeseburgers after, it's not going to work the same. Like,
yeah, that's a great question. I get that question a lot, actually. This is a very lengthy uncovering of a topic when it comes to wellness and a modality like this. There's a lot to be uncovered. So, how once we create that gas, so the first step is creating the gas. We just take pure oxygen, we put it through an ozone machine, which is essentially a chamber that flashes the UV light or electrical charge onto the oxygen, and it comes out as a gas. So if you can imagine, I have it back there. We're just recreating this gas. So once that gas comes out of the tube, there's different ways that you can plug that gas into different apparatuses to get it into the body. So I personally don't do any blood work, because it's very illegal to put needles into people's bodies if you're not a doctor. I offer guidance and knowledge and wisdom for people to empower themselves with this modality, because it's a very empowering experience to self nurture. So I'm a guide for that. So the therapies that I guide are in the ear. So what you do is you get that gas and you can put it through some water, and the vapors that come out through the water you put in your ear, or you can put it through the gas through oil, the olive oil, and then the vapors that come out through the oil you breathe. You can also put that gas through a catheter and do it rectally or vaginally. So, but you can imagine it's very subtle. It's a very subtle, small amount of it. You're not blasting your orifices with a lot of oxygen. It's just, there's different ways to bring it into the ear, bring it into the body. Rectally is the most powerful because it's getting right into your blood system, and it's when oxygen can move through your blood, it reaches systemically. The ear is amazing because it nourishes the eyes and the ears and the brain, so a lot of brain fog will go away. And what's happening is, like, a lot of people are like, will it help this, that, the other? All these names, whether it's cancer or a pimple, it's all cellular. So if we're going from the inside out, we're nourishing and we're cleansing on a cellular level, then we're moving the energy. We're and to get really specific, if you can imagine wherever that pimple or cancer tumor is, for example, that is essentially cells that are kind of having to overwork because information came in. So everything's information. So if we have information that is a Lyme disease virus or a biotoxin from the environment or bacteria that, however the information comes in the body and then it shows up because it wants to be released. What are tumors? It's a bunch of dead or half-charged cells that are trying to overwork this information it's dealing with, and then that shows up as a tumor. So wherever in the cellular matrix of our body, we have cells that kind of come in contact with too much information and have to overwork, that carries a heated charge. Ozone gas has a cooling charge, so it literally works like a magnet in the body. So when you bring ozone into the body, it literally just gravitates right to wherever there's this overcharged, overheated, too much information. It dismantles those cells, it just starts to cleanse and move those dead or half-charged cells out of the body, thereby seeing tumors go away, seeing inflammation go away, seeing, biotoxins leaving the body. So it's a really, really, it's like a cellular detox, but at the same time, when especially you have to make sure that you understand when you do ozone in a certain parameter of safety and effectiveness, you don't want to do too much. You want to softly nudge things out. You don't want to blast them out. Otherwise you'll have like a Herxheimer, like total, you'll just get really sick because you're getting rid of things too fast. So bring ozone into these places in a very gentle way, and we start to see things move and dissipate on a cellular level. So that's kind of how it works in the body. So a lot of times when people come, they say, well, will it help with this, that, the other? We're nourishing the cells at a core level. All these words are essentially a lack of oxygen. The cells are not juiced up enough with what they need, which is hypoxia. So it's almost like we have to retrain our minds. It's not about getting rid of things. It's not about not getting things. It's about keeping our cellular walls and our gut lining, all the places in our body strong. And this is pretty controversial, but if I went to the doctor and I got a test and it was like this virus, this name, the other name, like I'm not going to associate my life and my health with these names. It's a good understanding of what might be coming up, but I know if I really on a cellular level nourish and detox, these names go away. And that's how I live my life. So I really believe in it, and I've seen enough with this community of people healing themselves with ozone. I've seen enough now to fully have confidence in it.
That's amazing. Yeah, I totally agree. Dr. Joe Dispenza says you went to the doctor and you believe the death sentence. It's like, hello, I'm a human in a white jacket that's going to take control of your health and your whole reality. You're going to die. I don't know. I'll give you 3 to 6 months, 10 years or whatever. Now, you could die. He could be right. And you could also choose a reality where that is not true and you do heal yourself. And it only becomes an option if you decide to give it a shot, to say, I'm going to believe that. I'm going to go there. Like, for me, sport makes it so simple. Don't try a backflip until you are going to commit to it and you feel in your body that you can land it. If you're about to go try it and you don't think you're going to get it, you're not giving yourself the option to land it, right? So it's like simple stuff like that. And healing, I think what we've done culturally is we've given our health to external forces, forgetting about our innate healing, our own, it's like trying to find, a little pill for every single thing. And the thing is, if you look into health and pharmaceuticals and the money and, I had Hari on and a few other people in private conversations in, festivals and all this stuff about like Rife technology, using vibration to heal cancer, but chemotherapy is, a business, and it is a business. And it basically, okay, we're going to put you in a microwave. You could be totally fine. It's all fine. You're going to just go to microwave. Like, no.
That's a huge part of this ozone. Another, ozone and Rife and these technologies, they work. And what does that mean? And this is where I'm going to stretch. I don't really talk that much about this because I really want to get the information out so people are empowered with the knowledge to heal themselves with this. I am a New York girl with a strong anti-establishment, anti-medical. I'm an activist and I can go far deep down that rabbit hole. However, I'm not anti, I'm pro information, I'm pro empowerment. And some of these tools are so valid and so they work that it would crush the pharmaceutical bottom line. And that's what our medical industry, a large part of it, especially in America and Australia, the Western world, the bottom line is more important than lives. That if they can just keep us just enough sick to stay on these pills that cover up symptoms but give us these other things down the line. It's this crazy matrix of cycling people in and out. I mean, it's sickness. It's a sickness in humanity where the medical system is not about, getting the core issues or looking at the reason why. It's a cover up so that they can keep making these pills. So for things like ozone or Rife technology, these extraordinary natural tools that can support our health, that we don't have to really rely on that system, is a threat to their money, and so that's a whole thing right there. But, for a long time, ozone was practically illegal. There's a lot of misinformation. The EPA right now, you can go onto the EPA's website, they'll say it's toxic gas. There's a whole reason why they think that ozone is toxic. It's because they're actually trying to see what's in smog, and the only thing that they can financially test for that shows up easily is ozone. So they just write it off as saying ozone is toxic gas in the smog, but really it's not. That's a whole nother rabbit hole. So there's a lot of information. There's a lot of veering away from this powerful tool. I believe if we had ozone clinics in every neighborhood, we'd be a different species of human. We wouldn't see as much sickness, and we'd be way advanced in our evolution. And, I've seen so many and read so many stories of people that had brain cancer and they have 3 weeks to live. And then they do ozone for like 3 months. They had 3 weeks to live. Think about that. They do ozone every day for 3 hours. And 3 months later, they have no brain issues whatsoever. So there's like stories like that, Parkinson's shakes. They don't go away no matter what. Parkinson's, the kind of neurological disease that just wipes. My grandfather died of it. I saw it. And I watched the man with Parkinson's just suddenly stop shaking. There's just this innate technology that our body thrives when it has these types of, these elements from nature. It's a divine conscious element, a very feminine, because it's cooling. It's a cooling electrical oxygen charge that comes in the body, and it just works miracles. You can see there's like Lyme's disease and cancer patients that just turn to ozone when there's nothing else they can do, and they get their lives back. It's just extraordinary natural medicine.
That's amazing. Well, the way that my mind is kind of opening up is I'm the same way. I started to look at just what was wrong with the world. I was like 15. I was like, how do we still have war? Like, what's happening? And just look, and then rabbit hole after rabbit hole. When I was in Whistler, I had a little bit of a depression for a while because I had to go through the realization that the authority, the thing that I was supposed to trust, which I never did, thankfully, is trying to kill me, you know? Just eat McDonald's. Just, you know, they basically, what they want is you to give your power, your intelligence, your healing, your money, your thoughts, your life to someone else. Like, people don't ever question the reality. Like, do you ever question 40 hours a week, you know, 5 days
Yeah.
a week, 2 days off? Like,
Or how about when you go to the hospital and they give you like the most unhealthy food and water sources and like Coca-Cola dispensers in hospitals, that just says it all right there. You know?
Totally. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. This is why you're here. Here, just have some more Coke and sugar. And so, yeah, it's for profit. We live, and this is a tough one for people. You got to understand that the system is pretty much designed to kill you. And that's like what awakening is. You're like, oh, wait, hold on a second. I can't trust this thing that I was supposed to put my trust in. And so you have to find these other solutions. And what you're talking about is, you know, basically building the new model, because that's a lot of how it starts. You know, when I coach or I talk to people who's kind of waking up, they have to go through this process of like anger and just filtering through, like, it's actually that bad. Yeah, it is. And we know that now. Now, what is the solution to build? And
That's
so,
the thing. Yeah, we don't want to be in fear or anti, and
mhm.
especially in the field of healing and wellness. In my own walk of this life, you know, I'm sharing something and saying, hey, like, here's this information, and there's a lot of things that I've just shared. So someone, let's just say, like, someone that has cancer that's really suffering right now, they find me, they call me, they're like, you know, there's a whole emotional landscape that comes with someone that is sick. You know, you and I are healthy. We can talk about biohacking. It's fun. But when I start coming in contact and having these conversations with people that are super sick, and it's scary, you know, if you're, imagine like you have this thing, this virus or this disease, and the doctors are telling you something, even if you're a healthy light worker, it can get in that like kind of middle ground of like, okay, this is my life. What do I do? And there's, of course, there's parts of Western medicine that you absolutely do need. So it's a very interesting walk. It's not about dismissing anything or saying that that's trying to kill me. It's not about blindly going into these modalities that are supposed to save you. It's about being empowered with just trusting your intelligence, your body, doing what feels good. And so I always give that invitation to people when I'm offering this information or offering ozone, is like to really listen to your body and listen and receive the energy from nature that can, and really like get into your mindset of like, okay, I can work with this. Like what does my body need? Like really listening instead of just being told what to do, like really hear what your body needs. And that's like the first step, you know. But the one thing that I have to say is when I witness people receive ozone, I'll work with people that are super biohacking next level Jedis, and I'll work with people that have no idea and they're completely in the other world. And it's such a beautiful witnessing when people come in contact with me or, you know, ozone and this information. There's just yes energy across the board. It's wild. Sometimes I don't even explain what ozone is, and they're just like, give it to me. Yes, this is right for me. So it's really, you know, I can get as wordy and explain it and try to, you know, share what I know. And sometimes I don't even say a word and people just come into my field. They're like, yes, please. So it's really cool to kind of work in that way of like, how do we share information and how do we also just listen and come from that state of receiving, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, you watch enough TEDx talks and you go to enough health conferences and expos, and you know the bajillion supplements and tools and this and that, it can be overwhelming. It's like, let's just cut to the chase and just like get in there and like really make things work, you know, right to the core level. And that's kind of how I like to work. I've tried every supplement, every detox, you name it, and it hasn't been until I've kind of simplified to a few different things that are absolute that I've like completely transformed my life. And you know, what I've learned is, yes, we're cellularly healing and detoxing, but the big conversation is also stress. So what is stress? It's mental, it's emotional, it's environmental, it's the food we eat can cause stress in the body. So there's so much different avenues for stress to affect us. And I'm sure you've heard of this in the wellness path. You know, stress releases the chemical fight or flight response, and that chemical kind of sends the blood to our limbs and our eyes, because stress equals get ready, something's about to happen. So a lot of our circulation and a lot of our blood is being sent out to our limbs on a daily basis because we live in a stressful environment. So the first thing that I notice when people start working with oxygen therapy, especially ozone, is that we're redirecting, we're recirculating that circulation and blood to the central, you know, the sexual organs, the digestive organs, the heart, the third eye, like it's all the central system. So we're bringing that back. And so that usually when people are done with even just 5 minutes, I've seen people like they're just completely not stressed for the first time in their life. Like, what does that feel like to be a human person body and literally like feel your body not holding any stress? It's, you know, that why do we meditate? Why do we do these things? It's to not feel stress, you know, because that in our body, when we're not in a stress mode, is when the magic happens. So yeah.
Well,
that's another benefit of ozone.
yeah, that's beautiful. And I really appreciate the clarification, because I sometimes can be very general and very masculine. It's like, everything's trying to kill you. It's like, wait, hold on a second. My friend Kaveh is a doctor. He's amazing human being. He's definitely trying to help you. He's a very good guy. He's very smart. You can trust him.
I
You know,
appreciate it.
yeah, what I mean is, you know, is take a look at some of the systems, you know, pharmaceuticals, you know, some of them are great. If I have a headache, I take Advil. I like it. And if, you know, I've broken limbs, doctor helped me. It was great. You know, there's lots of room for it also. And there's a lot of suppressed technology, and there's a lot of natural healing right there. Like, some people believe when you get cancer, you die. You know, I've been around so many people, and I know I've met 3 to 5, probably more, but 3 I can specifically recall had cancer, and this is what they did. Now they don't have it. They did alkaline water, they did CBD, and they did a super clean diet. Those were the 3 things that they did, and all of them now no longer have it, and it only became an option. It was outside of the hospital, you know, and hospitals, right? You're supposed to, you're going to die, got to get some radiation, you know, say goodbye. Well, that's not the only option. You know, and then you got Dr. Joe Dispenza, who's like, yo, you could just meditate this away. People are like, what? Like, you're an insane person. No, actually, someone's in the audience like, I actually did that. It does seem nuts, I know, but like, I literally meditated it away. It is pretty nuts, right? So you got to suspend this disbelief to look at an option, but take control of yourself. And like anything, if you're looking at activated oxygen and you see like, oh God, it's no good, and you feel that way, then cool. Like, maybe it's not for you. Don't do it. But the big thing that I want to touch on in your point there is I just wrote an article for Face the Current magazine, and it was about transformation. And in the article, I was like, I think the most important thing I could write about is how to transform your life from fear-based to love-based. And so it's vibrational. It's a vibrational shift. And so many people don't feel peace. They literally go around with maybe it's 1%, but probably more, closer like 10 to 15% stress all day, because they're in their mind and they're fearful of paying the bills and survival. So they got to rush to work. They're going to work all week. They're definitely not going to get out of this financial hole. If they don't get out of the financial hole, they might lose their house, which loses security. Then they can't get groceries, and then the body dies because it has to eat to die. And that's what they're thinking in the back of their mind. We're love-based and vibrational-based and heart-based. You know you're eternal, nothing to worry about. You're going to continue to survive. You're aligned with Source. Everything could explode and you could be outside. And Source is like, I got you. I know you need some food. Trust me, food will sort itself out. We're not going to just let you die.
Bring people into that, because you know, we can talk about these things, but when someone's in their life, and I mean, I'm a human. I go through stress and worry just the same. And, you know, it's just, that's where we start to bridge and just bring information and empowerment and tools, and just give people a little taste of what does that feel like. And I feel like that's the one thing is like, yes, there's these bold claims that, you know, ozone can heal cancer and all the rest of it. I'm not here to just shout that from the rooftops, which I can, by the way. Anyway, I can't make any public claims, but it's one of those things. I mean, when I talk to people, I'm like, it's magic air that prevents and cures everything. That's the short and sweet of it.
Well, and what I learned too, though, is that you can't even say heal. You have to say get rid of, you know? And this is like, how do I explain it to another human that's like in this? It's like, just look into it for yourself. You know, if it happened for one person, it then becomes a possibility for you too. If one person meditated cancer, whatever away, then it becomes possible for you also. You know, so, but how you word it because of, you know, people.
Totally. A lot of the ozone studies, actually, it's funny when you start like going down the ozone rabbit hole, you know, and that's what really got me inspired is like, yes, I was witnessing it in myself and others, but then I became obsessed. I literally spent a year of my life. I had the fortunate time for it to take off a year. You know, I simplified my life. I didn't have a lot of bills. I lived up in the hills of Ojai. I probably read every, not just comment post, but every comment on every post, every blog, every forum ever written on ozone. I was obsessed with just like, what is this thing? And when you start to even read the books, some of the experts like Frank Schallenberger, Joe Rodin, like there's all these different doctors that write books about ozone. And it's such an amazing thing from people that are just on a blog sharing their own story to these professional ozone experts. Across the board, they're like, look, we can go into the science, we can go into the debates, we can go into all the ins and outs of what ozone is and healing and cancer and all of it. What's actually happening? So that's what you're saying, like, what's actually happening with people? Okay, let me go into this blog and I'm seeing like thousands of people across the world that have Lyme disease suffering, you know, with Epstein-Barr, Lyme disease or cancer, and they're turning to ozone and they're sharing their stories and they're changing their lives. Like, let's go away from all like, I know this and you know that, and this was written, like what's happening with people. And that's what inspires me. And so when I take myself out and I'm like, not trying to be some expert, I'm just a woman that wanted to feel good. And I stumbled across something that's epic and natural. And now when I share it with others, they feel good too. Like, let's just get really simplified with it. I mean, for me, like the other day, I just let somebody try it for just the inhalation. And this is a woman that's very much wanting to be in the world of healing and health in her life, but she has asthma. And so she has to have one of those steroid inhalers around her all the time because her body might not be able to catch its own breath. So even though she's healthy, she works in a subtle energy laboratory. She's epic, star being author. She needs this steroid thing to stay alive. And so she came and she did an ozone session with inhalation. And that week, it was the first time in her life that she actually didn't have to reach for an inhaler and she could feel her body catch its own breath. So yes, yes, we're talking about asthma and yes, we're talking about ozone, but like just emotionally and in self-empowerment, like for her to feel her body take care of itself and not rely on this thing that she thinks she needs. Like that's the magic right there.
Yeah, totally. And to go like another step with it. You know, I could see also the possibility, and this is like an out there thought, of just like, it's like this, bridge for your consciousness or your body to accept that it can heal itself, you know, to like come into the awareness, like I have the power to heal myself, and boom, with complete belief and thought and integrity and connection with source and spirit, bam, you're like totally healed, you know. And this is because I like to go down rabbit holes. I've never done the ozone one. And I just imagined just a whole bunch of rabbit holes that like people will just walk around and just like fall in. And I'm just like so excited that you've just dived down. Cause I'm like, what did you find down there? Like, you know, I don't have the time to go like a year into that one, but then your friend kind of like digs out of the rabbit hole. It's like, yo, this is what I found. And I think
that's so it. That is
yeah.
so it. Absolutely.
And I think that that's what a lot of the light community is doing, because the thing is, what we're trying to find is solutions. We look around and either A, we have a problem, or B, for me, it's like, this is super messed up and it's pissing me off. you know. So it's like, how do I liberate myself financially? How do I travel the world? How do I have a healthy body? How do I not sign up for 40 hours a week? Because that is nonsense. Right now I work way more than 40 hours a week, but I love it. It's a different way of life, and it's possible. And then you meet other people who are kind of doing it as well. But, you know, as people descend down the rabbit hole, they come up, and then you're talking to a human, you know, a human that is living in integrity. A human has somebody else's best interest in mind, right? And say, look, I don't know about the claims of what this can do. I don't want to go in, like, I'm not a scientist, but look, just fell down this rabbit hole for like a year. This is what I came up with. This is what's happening to people. You could try it if you wanna.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, when I went around the world on a world tour to share this message, and I would just show up in a totally different country. Like I was in the middle of Indonesia in a rice paddy, and suddenly I'm speaking on a panel with like the most epic scientists, visionaries, luminaries ever. And I kind of questioned myself. I'm like, whoa, okay. I came out of this rabbit hole. I think I know something. I feel I'm seeing something happen, but now I'm sitting in a room of like geniuses. What are they going to think about what I'm doing? And they one by one validated. They saw my setup. I kind of travel with a really cool, I put flashy lights on the bubbling water. I do everything I can to go, hey, look at this, to make it all cool. But really,
Oh, you would get me. Men are,
yeah.
I don't know about all people, but I'm specifically like a fly, just like a shiny thing. That's why Burning Man the first year was a real challenge, because I was trying to chase everything on foot because everything's blinking. So that's how you got to catch them, you know?
No, I was like, water bubbling with ozone, but like flashy lights and all of it. And I had all these amazing people come through, and I was able to share what I believe is the truth. But when I came in contact with these scientists, doctors, visionaries, I'm talking like they're at the forefront of technology and science and medicine, but the light workers in that realm. And they came to Bali to sit in a panel and talk about that. Each element, each day was a different panel of elements. And they would talk about how the element of fire or water in our society, in health and wellness. So they kind of went and dissected all this information. And they actually I was right outside with my little mobile, ozone clinic set up. And they actually invited me onto the air panel. And I was so honored and also extremely nervous. And one by one, just validated by these genius minds going, keep doing that. This is the truth. This is right. Yeah. Ozone is powerful. So more and more doctors you'll see in society now, more and more holistic doctors, a lot of dentists are using ozone, because you can't hide from the truth anymore. It's one of those powerful truths that are emerging. That's like, if you're going to be a healthy, holistic doctor, if you're going to be a dentist that really wants to cut to the chase, not only do you want to do it because it's good, but you want to do it because it's effective. Like they want to actually see people have results when they're in that frame of mind. So it's kind of leading the way for a lot of revolutionary wellness benefits with prolozone. You can inject the gas into tissues and spinal fluids, and it's just unreal for sciatica. It's just amazing for dental. I mean, just, how much money do we spend when we go to the dentist? It's kind of scary, but if we can actually do a lot of prevention work and a lot of restorative work on our own, so that's the kind of thing. It's like, it's not a this or that. It's just having tools in our own lives and our daily lives that can empower and prevent and cure things with ourselves that we can, so I feel like for me, what I found is definitely, there's a certain protocol that I use for parasites and heavy metals. So really all the years that we've grown up with all this awful information, just really doing a good detox of that. So there's an herb called Mimosa pudica and some binders. So if anybody's interested in that, that's another big thing that I'm going to be sharing. But really emptying out the old information and bringing in the new information. So with red light technology and with oxygen therapy, especially ozone, along with a healthy lifestyle, diet and exercise and good thoughts. Of course, the good thoughts are a part of it all. You want to have good thoughts along all of these journeys, but I feel like I've really come into kind of the aha moment of my life of like, all right, I've simplified it down to these things, and I'm actually starting to feel and see results for myself and others. So that's kind of where I'm at in my journey, is just being a guide and being coming out of that rabbit hole and going, look at what this is. Just what you're saying, like I've done enough of the work to now be able to say, here, just cut to the point. Here's the info. Do what you'd like with it. So yeah, it's really exciting.
That's awesome. Yeah. And, you know, I also think too that, well, the first thing I like is that the community seems to confirm it, you know, with whatever, you know, like CBD, that's a huge upgrade that I had to get. And you know what? It's hard to, like, Hari turned me on to Juva. So I signed up for Juva to get this super hemp CBD. Can't even get it in Canada. You know, it's like I've been trying to get it, and so I have to have it shipped to me to get CBD, which everyone that I know had cancer used it and it's gone. And then all the doctors that I talked to and the light workers are like, your body wants this, take it. I'm like, okay. You know, I was like, oh, can't get it. That's annoying. But the community all confirms it. It's not like, 60-40 split. It's like 100%. You're like, no, we found another one. Like, this is good. Everybody should use it. It's not like, you know, and so that's how you trust yourself. Then it gets confirmed by people you trust. And then the last note that I was going to say is, like, when you go down the rabbit hole, and you come up, you find like a piece of gold or a gem or whatever, and you show it around. But it's terrifying because there's external authorities that tell you what to do. You're not a doctor. You're not worthy. You don't know what you're talking about. You're not a scientist. Science says this. Go back to your rabbit hole. Listen to other people. So it's scary. You know, so it's like you kind of found this, you know what I mean? Like, does anybody want to try? And so there's systems in place. So, you know, even for me and the stuff that I go into, you know, meditation's good for you. Just like, that's crazy, man. It's just ridiculous. So thank you for doing that. So what I wanted you to talk about is just a little bit more in depth, or just clarity on, you said you simplified it into fundamentals. Like, what are your fundamentals for health? What are those things?
Well, I'm actually going to start sharing my journey. I just started it today with this protocol because, you know, first I feel like you need to cleanse out the deep layers of stuff that's just lying dormant. So whether that's emotional, but I do feel parasites and heavy metals play a huge role in our ecosystem. So a lot of people are talking about, you know, the gut health and restoring the gut lining and the gut walls. And that is very important to look at. But before we can even build the gut lining strength, we need to get rid of these parasites, and we need to get rid of these heavy metals that are like lingering in our brain, in our tissues, in our blood. And, you know, I've for the past like 7 years, I've been obsessed with finding out all this and trying all the herbs, and everybody has different opinions. But I do feel that I've found the highest integrity, highest quality truth in how to remove these things really gracefully and really effectively. So I actually just started today. I finally found the formulation. I mean, I've been looking for years and I tried a lot. And this, I've gotten that, you know, when you find something and then you get these last validation marks at the end. So I just received that, which was just really exciting. So I feel like I'm holding on to really highly effective protocol. It's a 3-month protocol. You don't have to do anything crazy. So this is the thing. A lot of the people I work with, it's hard to change your life. It's hard to start these protocols, try these modalities. So how can we bridge I'm going to overhaul my whole life and need to be on this crazy specific anti-candida? I mean, yes, it's good to not eat high sugars and eat well, but let's just take a step back and just do this in a little bit more of a simple, easy way, because it can be overwhelming. Like, you know, I meet some friends and they're on this anti-candida diet, and I have candida and I have this and I have that and I have to eat this way. And it's all very true. Gluten makes me get headaches, and dairy, and the discussion of meat versus non-meat. Like, let's just take a pause, everybody. Just breathe for a minute. There's a lot of information. There's a lot of truths for everybody. But what are like the foundational truths for anyone, no matter what's going on? And how can we bring those foundational truths into our life where it's not this huge overhaul, that we can kind of gracefully enjoy our life and not feel like we have to be in this like crazy detox motion every day of our life. So that's been my journey, that, you know, always kind of questioning what's right. So I feel like, you know, first, of course, bringing the good water, good diet, exercise, mindful thinking, bring laughter, like the basics of a good, healthy life that everyone now knows more than ever these days. And then, but not stressing about it. You know, if you have, I mean, don't eat McDonald's ever, ever, ever. But if you have, you know, organic mashed potatoes because it's your comfort food. Yes, it's starchy, and yes, it's not the best because it breaks down to white sugar, but just chill out. Like, you're having a good time, eat it, you're happy. Everything in balance. So like, instead of being all stressed about it, just bring in good practices. And then I would say the first step is to empty out the parasites and heavy metals, because that will just give us a clean slate. And then after you do that, bringing in these kinds of tools.
How do you do that? So what are some, like, can you give like two simple options? Like, so you're going to be releasing a protocol on how to do it. Is it like a supplement that you take?
Yeah.
Type of
It's
deal?
that I found. I follow a lot of these doctors that are at the forefront of wellness. I went to the Bulletproof conference and all that. I'm following everybody, tracking everybody. And I stumbled across what I believe to be an amazing doctor with amazing sources of supplements that come from Europe. And it's basically mimosa pudica and like biocarbon, fulvic, and humic acid based protocol. So you take 4 different products for 3 months. You do it in the morning, breakfast, lunch, night, dinner, and at night. So you just take these supplements, and it helps to completely eradicate parasites out of the system while also binding all the biotoxins. And there's like parasite poop and ammonia and heavy metals that are all going to start to come out. So just binding it, getting it out of the body. And then also, and then bringing in these kinds of modalities like extra oxygen, extra light, these elemental vibrational tools to just keep our body, after we've done a good purge, to keep it moving, keep things moving, keep things vital within the system.
What's the doctor's name?
Dr. Todd Watts.
Okay, perfect. Just wanted to name drop for the people. Yeah, what I would just offer is I totally get that. In people, what I'd like to share is just that when you don't know that much about food, which me is like minimal. My minimal is above people who don't look at it is pretty earth shattering. So for the people who know, I know just like a little bit, and I can just say that all the stuff that we're eating, all the stuff that we've had in our food that's in our body, it's like dense and it's causing brain fog and it's messing up our natural system, and we got to get it out. There's massive change. Like if you've never felt a high vibrational state, like your body buzzing and super clear mind, it's because, it's probably in the body. And so if you can get rid of that stuff and then boom, get the other intelligence, it's kind of like, I don't know, maybe you're like a bee, a vibrational bee, and you've got like some honey stuck on you, but it's like not good honey or something. I don't know. Then you kind of clean it off, and then you're just so much lighter because you're taking out this density. Just think about
It's
eating.
old information. It's old. You want to
Old
get
information,
rid
yeah.
of the cells in the body that are dead or half charged, releasing that and allowing your functions to be at high performance, our immune system, our stress levels, and it's all, but it really, at the end of the day, if someone was like, just let's get real, what is it really about? It's oxygen. That is what is going to help everybody so much, just blast through so much, is with oxygen.
Okay, yeah, that's your side. Like we're talking about people or whatever. Just like you got the vegans, they got their sign. You got like paleo guys with their sign. You've got like raw vegan, the juicers. It's a juice thing. You even got people like that are just breatharians. It's like, it's just the light, bro. Yours is the oxygen sign. Oxygen.
Yeah.
So what are the other things? Okay, so we're gonna detox, or not get out the heavy metals, clear thinking. What else you got? Because in one or two more, or was that it?
Just cleanse out
Oxygen.
the parasites and heavy metals, and then just bring in that oxygen into your life with a basic healthy lifestyle, and you're a superhero. I've watched it in people like transform before my eyes. Like, and for people that don't maybe want to start this whole thing, sometimes just getting a little glimpse helps to open the pathway for people to feel. So I'll get people that will receive ozone. And, it just gives them that motion, that movement of like, whoa, oh, wow. Like I can breathe again. I feel clear in my brain. My symptoms are going away, and it just opens the doorway. It's ozone isn't the answer, be all end all, but at least it opens up the gateways for momentum in the healthy path, for sure.
Yeah, what I kind of see all this as is just all gateways to bringing the body to a higher vibrational state. And that for me could be awakening, enlightenment, the freaking woke hashtags, which drive me nuts because I haven't seen anybody use it and like actually be like awake yet. It's just the most ridiculous things. And so my point, to get distracted here, is that you have these little glimpses, right? And you're like, oh, and then that opens the door of just empowering yourself, knowing what you're capable of, putting the body in tune. Like, oh, maybe my body wasn't at its, peak performance here. Then you start to think, oh, well, what else? Oh, I'm going to get rid of that. Cool. Eat McDonald's every day is probably not great. Oh, what else is in meat? Oh, maybe I'll try vegetarian or whatever the case is. But
people right now are hungry. They're looking and they want something that's going to work.
Yeah.
Like even in our tribe, people that are very healthy, like I get a lot of people in our tribe that are super healthy, amazing lifestyles, but they're still like, I have some brain fog. I'm still not quite energized as I want to be, like even with all my healthy lifestyle. And it's because we live in a very toxic world. Like we are constantly bombarded with biotoxins, chemtrails, even our organic food to some degree sometimes isn't fully quality. So we need a little help to stimulate and to clear and to move. And, it's just the one thing that if I can just share is like, just getting rid of the notion of like being scared that you have something, which is if somebody right now has Lyme's disease, it's gnarly. You're scared. You go through all these emotions. You don't know exactly what you're going to do. It's going to affect your life. So when someone's in that state, before we even start saying, do this, do that, it's like really getting them in that state of mind of like, all right, I don't have something and I don't need to get rid of. That's the hardest shift because that's what we first go to, get it out, get it rid of. I have this thing. If we can just shift a little bit to, okay, like there's this thing in my body, but I'm gonna to my core level, I'm gonna nurture and nourish and help and just help my body. I'm gonna help my body do what it already knows to do. Like that's some Joe Dispenza work right there. Is like, just really not identifying with needing to get rid of anything, because even in all these studies that I've been reading with all these amazing doctors, like they're like, if you have strong cell walls and you have a strong gut lining, you can have all of these things come into your body. It doesn't matter because your body's strong and it knows how to navigate. If the cell wall is strong and a virus comes in, it will say, nope, can't come in. But if your walls are weakened, they can come in. So it's just, instead of saying, I don't want this thing to come into my body, or I have this thing in my body, let's shift that mentality and go, I'm just going to make my walls strong again. I'm going to make my cellular walls and my gut lining walls strong. So I can be tested for all of these things. It doesn't matter because my body is not going to activate in my body. So a lot of people that have the herpes virus, which has a strong stigma against it, like it's really a lot of people have shame around it. They have fear. It's one of those things, like even the word, it's a huge part of my journey offering ozone guidance. I get a lot of people with Lyme's disease, cancer, and herpes. Herpes is a big one. It brings sexual shame. It's easy to get. It's all these things. But if your body is strong, if your system is strong, you can get tested for all these things. It doesn't matter. It will be inactive. So a lot of people that have used ozone therapy who have herpes, they might not test negatively, but it won't be prevalent in their life. It will be deactivated. So it's like it's about a mind shift of not associating with like, I have this thing or I need to get rid of or not get it in. It's just the core strength from the cellular level. And then you don't have to worry about all those things really.
Yeah, I really like that shift. It's see, that's like an empowering thing. It starts in thought, just how we shift the view, and that view gives more freedom and more empowerment. Just doing that, So I appreciate you sharing that. And as you're describing it, what it makes me think is, it's always inside out, and we're attached to see, okay, outside the body, I might have a scab, or I might have a rash, or there's a tumor growing here. And it really changes from like inside into the, my nephew is so stoked on anatomy, and he's always like, what does the inside of this look like? So I'm kind of looking and exploring and creating that inside health, and then once that's active, the body is super intelligent. People got to realize that the body is the most multidimensional supercomputer quantum spacesuit that is incredibly capable. It's so much smarter than you are. It's like when your mind is trying to think about how smart it is, it's like, incomparable. It's like a 4-year-old versus, astrophysicist mixed with Tesla, mixed with everybody magnifying times a million. It's not even a competition,
Divine nature intelligence.
Exactly. Yeah. And that's what we are. But the mind is trying to figure everything out, and the body's like, have you ever thought about how to heal a scab? The body just does it like magic. Your body is magic. And so it's reconnecting to that magic. And I think that's a beautiful shift. So I really appreciate that. So what else? This has been amazing. I really appreciate you sharing this, and I appreciate you coming out of the rabbit hole with your sign and sharing your oxygen sign with everybody, because it's a really, really amazing one. I want to do it. So I guess a logical question would be, anything else that you want to share around anything? It could be health. It could be you need to talk about ozone this. I don't know. Yeah. And people are going to want to do it. Can you do it in Canada? Probably do it in the US. Canada is probably all over Europe. So what do you do? Could you have a home machine, or do you got to go to somebody?
That's great. Thank you for reminding me. Yeah. So, what I do is there's a lot of different ozone machines. There's a lot of different information on ozone. I try to, throughout the years, really dissect and get to the point of, so I offer, if you visit my website, or anyone can contact me personally, I offer at-home ozone healing kits. So I can get it mailed and shipped anywhere in the world. You'll get the very highest level ozone machine, and you'll get my personal guidance. It comes with 3 Skype calls where I guide people, because it's one thing to be like, okay, ozone's amazing. All right, I'm ready to buy, I'm ready to do this thing. It's a huge process to, start self-applicating. So it's really important. I don't just sell machines. I sell this kit where I can ship it to you, but then we do the Skype call where I can bring people through how to set it up properly, how to use it properly. They have guides. So that is one thing I offer. And I also offer practitioner programs. So I have 5, I call them my ozone angels. I'm kind of replicating myself around the world. So there's one in Ubud, Bali, one in Perth, Australia, one in Kauai, Hawaii, and now one in LA is my newest one. And there's going to be 2 of us here in Encinitas. So, many people can go to different doctors in your town. You can research different doctors that offer ozone. But to get back to that question, how many sessions? So someone can try ozone for 5 minutes and have a huge shift in their breathing or their apnea. The real goal is to have a machine in your home, because then you can do this in your life. It's a lifetime warranty machine. It doesn't cost a lot to maintain. So really having a machine is the goal. But generally, like 3 to 5 sessions for kind of a booster moving of energy if you have like your immune system's down or you're feeling foggy. But generally, if someone like has Lyme's or cancer, they want to be doing this daily for a few months. They want to have it in their home. So I work with people. I act as a guide. So if anyone's interested in knowing more, how to get their hands on this kit, or just general information if they're going to go the route on their own, I provide that guidance basically.
Awesome. Okay, so hold on one second. Oh yeah, the first thing that I wanted to mention was when I imagine it, if I were stationary, I would want it, and then I could just gift it to my community. Come over, charge them whatever, $15, $20, $100, whatever you want to do, and then now you can just make a little sign to your community and share this technology with other people. So that was one thing that I thought about, because I always want it. I want all the stuff. When I'm grounded and have a home, it's going to be ridiculous. I'm going to have so much crap in there. That's going to be amazing. People will be like, well, what did I just step into? It's going to be like the Star Trek healing room.
Totally. Kind of like what I've got going on here.
Yeah, exactly. Yes, exactly. And so how much does one of those things cost?
So it's 4,200 US, and that comes with the at-home healing medical ozone kit and my guidance, 3 Skype calls. And then for a practitioner program, it's about $10,000 investment, but then you basically get all the marketing material. It's like a practice in a box, so you can offer ozone in a good way. I would never suggest having an ozone machine and just sharing it, other than maybe some inhalation. There's just some parameters that you want to like know how to work with this gas, because it is literally this one of the safest modalities on the planet, but also you want to work within a certain parameter to make sure it stays within that safety and effectiveness zone. So I kind of offer that guidance for people that want to either self-applicate it at home, or if they want to share it with others. Those are I have programs to make sure that you're like right within that span of information.
Okay, cool. Yeah, because I just get all gung ho, so it's good that you that you help me before I just start sharing it. Okay, that's good. Awesome. Well, thank you so much for coming on. I really appreciate it, and I'm excited to. I think I'm gonna be rolling by LA soon. So when I do, I'm gonna come in and get all of it as much as I can. And so I appreciate you, coming out of the rabbit hole and sharing this, because it is like, it's not common. And, things like this, I feel like need to be common in the same way for my Zen athlete thing. It's like not common that, the mental game of sport isn't being taught. And it's just ridiculous. Like, yo, this is very useful. We should do this. So I appreciate you coming out and sharing this info. So is there anything that you want to leave the listeners with before we go? Website, closing thoughts, whatever you need.
I'm starting to see that this is a need more and more for people, whether you're very healthy or very sick, that our cells need this type of support in this world. So just being on this path of witnessing this element, this divine, feminine, conscious, natural element that's here to really support us at a cellular level. It's my mission, my passion, and my joy to share this information with everybody. And so I'm going to be coming out more with that, with more videos, more social media. So just following the journey with me on Instagram and all that jazz. So thank you. This was like a nice little movement in that direction, because I have a lot to share. Obviously, we probably went over an hour and a half or something. I have plenty to share. Happy to share it, especially if you know anyone that is suffering, that has sickness, that needs support. I think, before even the modality, it's that support, it's the information, it's the just knowing that we've have the intelligence and we have what we need. It's a very for the people, by the people kind of movement that we're in. So it's a joy to share this in this way. My website is activatedoxygen.life, and we'll just leave all the info in the comments below and all that stuff.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, thank you so much. Yeah, I'm like I said, I'm excited to do it again, because I got one in the ears. I don't know. They seem like maybe the people like they do it, but I feel like I trust you more. And it is. I'm all about the upgrades, and I'm very appreciative of new technologies. And I really, like you said, for the people, by the people, and that's a lot of this stuff. When I'm communicating with people, it's like, we did this, now we want to share it because it worked, and we want to have healthy, whole, balanced people. That aren't stressed out all the time, that aren't sick. You got to take care of the body first, and then out of that survival, oh my God, I'm afraid. And you rightfully should be afraid, or not should. It's a possibility you could be afraid, but heal and be harmonious and be full of life and have a higher vibration and have a higher quality of life. And that's what we all want. So thanks.
Yeah. Thank you.
Cool. Well, yeah, my pleasure. We'll get you on again. Cool. Thanks everybody for listening. See you in the next one.